Well, it hasn't been something Idaho has had as long as the grocery tax, but there is an attempt to scrap it nonetheless. On the second day of the legislative session, about 10 days ago, Representative Heather Scott proposed a joint memorial to reject the 2015 Supreme Court decision that legalized same-sex marriage. She says it undermines states' authorities to make their own decisions over how a marriage should be defined. Idaho law already defines it as being between a man and a woman. Last week, the joint memorial passed through the House State Affairs Committee after dozens of people walked out in protest. Today, it was heard in the House, and Hunter Funk listened in.
What this resolution does is it rejects the Obergefell decision, and then we're asking them to restore.
To be clear, based on, so keep in mind that this is from a set of data taken from April 5th, 2022 to December 23rd, 2022. So it's about 2.5 years old at this point. But this is what support for same-sex marriage looks like state by state. Massachusetts at 83-12, which is just an overwhelming mandate, you know. Washington, Maine, New Hampshire, Connecticut, Rhode Island, Nevada, Oregon, District of Columbia, Illinois, Minnesota, New Jersey, Iowa, New York, Colorado, Virginia, California, New Mexico, Wisconsin, Maryland, Alaska. Now we're down to 70%. Arizona. Keep in mind we're hitting states that have gone red too. Montana, 70%. Ohio, got. Vermont, Delaware, Florida, 69%. Nice. Hawaii, Kansas, Michigan, Pennsylvania, Indiana, North Dakota, North Carolina, Utah, Idaho, 64%. Missouri, South Dakota, Georgia, Louisiana, Texas, West Virginia, Wyoming, Nebraska, Kentucky, South Carolina, Oklahoma, Alabama, Tennessee, Arkansas, and finally at the bottom, still with a plurality of 1%, but below 50%, Mississippi at 49-48. So just keep that in mind. So when you see that all of the Idaho House Republicans are voting against gay marriage, they're not representing their constituency. We could have made gay marriage a fucking amendment with these numbers, and we should have.
State authority. This is a state's right.
House Joint Memorial 1 is turning up the volume in Boise. Idaho legislators want to be heard by the U.S. Supreme Court.
Now, they can ignore this. They can ignore it, but they can also take note that we understand there has been an overreach in the decision-making for something they don't have the authority to do.
On Sunday, dozens of LGBTQ plus rights advocates wanted their voices heard by lawmakers at the foot of the Capitol steps.
To let the people on the fourth floor of this building know that we're not going anywhere. Our marriages don't affect anyone else, and we just want to make sure that our voices are heard and amplified.
Cole Lancaster says he's wary of putting his marriage rights in the hands of state legislators if the Supreme Court were to take the petition seriously. It's a similar message voiced by House Minority Leader Alana Rubel.
One of my sons is gay. He talked to me about this the other week. He was very upset. He's not a very political guy, but he was really concerned about whether he is ever going to be blocked from marrying his long-term boyfriend and being able to live in this state.
The debate followed party lines.
It's a bold thing to do in this time and culture that we're living in, but it means it's the right thing to do. Whether it's crumpled up and thrown away, whether the wording isn't exact, or whether it's ignored, it is what we need to do as a body and a people.
This is just a letter.
What the fuck did any of that mean? They never talk straightforwardly, the reactionaries. It's always some like arcane fucking labyrinthian logic they follow to get to the point they have, and the point they have is that they hate you, but they can't just say that.
It has no force of law. The courts are going to toss it in the trash. It really accomplishes nothing. It's a waste of time and money.
Though, while Republican Representative Lance Clough believes the U.S. Supreme Court went beyond their powers to make the decisions, he had a hard time making a decision on the petition.
This is a troublesome phrase in there that we are rejecting the U.S. Supreme Court, which Idaho has adopted as the supreme law of the land, which says that we should obey their decisions. I really struggle with that, and I just had to make sure I said that before I voted. Thank you.
What? Okay.
Despite that, he voted for the joint memorial, and now it's heading to the Senate. Yeah, and 46 were for it, 24 against, which means the majority voted in favor, so it heads to the Senate. Again, it may not be impacting laws, but it does make a statement on both sides of the aisle to people in our community.
It certainly does.
That's great. That's great.
And that was kind of the argument, but also remembering back to history, that was brought up a couple of times. States' rights didn't work out so well when it came to, interracial marriages or school segregation. So
Right.
that's when the federal authorities had to step in and say, hold on a second, that's not how this is done.
Right, and that, big debate in this, obviously, as well.
Yeah.
Deploying divisions of paratroopers at every gay wedding in Idaho to ensure that they're wedded safely. It's the only way. But that was when we did good things. Yeah, the forced integration of schools was done despite public opinion in many areas, whereas gay marriage is popular in every state of the union, and in spite of that, it's just gonna get rolled back. Doesn't the Respect for Marriage Act also or already enshrine the right to gay marriage? No. It just means that if you get gay married in one state that does recognize it, that has to be recognized by another state that if they don't, like if they don't have gay marriages, they still have to respect an existing marriage. Well, right now, isn't it legal in all 50 states? Yeah, because of Obergefell. But the Supreme Court could overturn that effortlessly if they wanted to. Abortion was legal everywhere a couple years ago, lol. That's true. And then they overturned Roe v. Wade. Obergefell? Obergs fell. Remember when Oberg fell? Yes, he did, Rave Dubin. They're getting to it quickly before he dies. In Idaho, it is public policy to not recognize out-of-state gay marriages, and it's a misdemeanor to get married in another state in order to subvert their laws. Well, that's unconstitutional. As of right now, because of Obergefell, those laws aren't enforceable. Like that might be on the books, but it's not enforceable at the moment because of the Supreme Court precedent. What's your opinion on if the federal government will uphold gay marriage recognition? It's not about the federal government. It's about the Supreme Court. Oh, you mean like for visas and stuff like that? Yeah, probably. It would be really disruptive to trade if in America your marriage wasn't even recognized. If you were gay married elsewhere or something. Yeah, no, that's a while down the line, The default behavior here will be like overturn Obergefell and then, the red states ban gay marriage and don't recognize it from other states, but there are still blue states you can get gay married in. I have to admit, it seems like you were right about Harris being the lesser evil. Well, yeah, of course, obviously. I'm not taking credit for that. That's obvious. The Democrats led us to this point, but in terms of, yeah. Wouldn't the GOP face massive electoral backlash for that? Base Comrade, today alone, they engaged in an unconstitutional freeze of federal disbursements and loans, which temporarily, apparently, included Medicaid, banned trans youth healthcare, effectively. All this shit that's happening right now isn't going to be popular. But I don't know, does it matter? Will we have elections again? How long did the J6 backlash last? Didn't do anything. Doesn't matter.